Ladies and gentlemen, I just, I'm sorry. I read a text from a friend. I just sent him a text, Marcus. I'm like, watch Resident Evil Vendetta. And he's like, okay. And then like instantly, I'm talking 20 seconds later, he texts back, wow, that was really good. I'm like, you dick. Anyway, welcome to another edition of ComicCorp. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto. Joining me, as always, is Marcus Green. Marcus, it is the home stretch of the boys. We have 2 more arcs to go. This one is like the rise and the fall of the Thousand Men, or some dumb bullshit title. Garth Ennis is pretentious as fuck. It is Over the Hill with the Swords of a Thousand Men. That's this week's review, and the next week we're going to finish off with The Bloody Doors Off and You Found Me, which are 6 issues left. Then we're going to take a week off, and then when Zach is back on with us the week after that, we will be starting a review of Y the Last Man. So, Marcus, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, man. We just pulled a trifecta this week. We ended it here. It should be fun because this particular arc was very enjoyable.
Yeah, the last 2 arcs really pulled everything out. I actually ended up reading these arcs a long time ago by accident. So, like, when I read it, I was like, oh, this is fucking weird. And then I reread it, and I'm like, wow. Like, some of this, like, you could probably have told the story in 30 issues. There's a lot that didn't need to exist in this book. And I really think, outside of portraying Starlight against the boys as a backdrop for her arcs, I don't really feel that, one, we needed a lot of these 7 as a selling point for the series. I feel like most of the stuff with the 7 has just been for Garth Ennis to push his superheroes bad ideology. But I also don't feel like they added anything to the narrative of Huey, who's obviously the star of the series. But this really paid off on all the super stuff. This was a great arc, and I'm really happy that we kept going after that first review because, yeah, it was intense. It was, out there, grotesque, all that stuff that we expected it to be, but it was also at times dragging. But this, it really picked up with this one. So, Marcus, let's do a beat by beat. So essentially, Huey's on the rocks with this girl, man. Starlight's getting a little fed up with Huey's boo-hoo bullshit. I believe this was the arc that finally had Huey kind of confess that he can't get past what she did to get into the 7.
It's. I mean, I think this is the culmination mentally of him not having a nervous breakdown, but just he's kind of done. Everything's coming to a head. He can't even again. We talked about it before everything came out between the two of them. They were each other's escape from all this stuff. And, he still hasn't really gotten over Robin, which we're going to get to that in a second. But, yeah, I mean, that revelation that he's been... Dude had probably the worst combination trauma dream. I mean, Jesus Christ, shit. Let's see if I can just break this down. His ex, his current girl is being he's being forced by 2 freaking aliens to watch his current girlfriend reenact a sexual act, but it turns out that she's suffering from the same thing that the way he lost his first girl, but it's to the guy. It's nuts. I couldn't even get through it.
Huey's on some serious ledges on this one.
Yeah.
The arc plays out very similar to kind of how we expected it to be. So it kind of branches off in several different realms. On one side, we get the female and Frenchie kind of crashing a little Vought celebration of sorts. We have Mother's Milk doing a lot of in-depth investigation. And then Huey's kind of dragged along with Butcher to the White House because turns out Homelander's big plan was a coup d'etat. Six Semper Tyrannis. And so things are going off. Things are going off. Frenchie loses an arm. The female loses her shit all over everyone's faces. And Huey has to stand by and watch idly as superheroes kill everyone in the White House. So this is where we're at. This is the story we're walking into. Among those dead are the president, which just adds so much more political intrigue to the backstories that we've been ignoring because they're stupid. And we eventually get to a point where Butcher ends up getting in to the White House. He and Homelander are finally face to face. Culmination of 64 issues has led us here. And as he and Homelander are about to finally get into it, Black Noir comes in. Marcus, before we reveal the Black Noir of it all, I want to ask you if you had any inclinations whatsoever that this was going to happen, that this was the twist with Black Noir.
No. Not at all. No.
So as Mother's Milk is telling Huey about all the things that have led up to this point, he starts dropping hints about Black Noir, and they reference something that happened with Queen Maeve, where Black Noir tagged in for Homelander essentially on let's say on a date night, and Homelander says something to the effect of, "She won't notice we're the same size." So this kind of boils over to this. As Black Noir walks in during the middle of the Homelander Billy Butcher confrontation, Black Noir takes off his mask for the first time in the series. And Billy Butcher and Homelander see that Black Noir is nothing but a twisted Homelander clone. And then everything falls apart in Homelander's world. Because Homelander quickly deduces that all these terrible things he thought he was doing in a kind of like sleepwalking-esque ways, like a split personality, schizophrenic kind of breakdowns, things that he didn't think he had any control over, because he saw the photos, but he has no memory of doing it, ends up being revealed to be Black Noir the entire time. And that Black Noir was doing all these things to kind of keep Homelander underfoot. And Black Noir was the one who sent the photos to the boys in the first place. And Homelander realizes that had it not been for these photos that he no longer has, like, that he never had any memory of ever committing in the first place, he may have not have snapped and started to become the guy that he became. And it became this big revelation that maybe Homelander wasn't always a bad guy. Maybe he was driven this way because he thought he was truly insane. And that was deep as hell. Like, I really like that. That was a great spin on the concept.
First of all, that completely effed me up for the show. Although maybe not, because they've similarities but not sameness.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gone in different directions. I mean, just to twist along with the Becky thing is put the show on a different trajectory.
Right.
And now that I think about it, in terms of getting a mirror image of Homelander, that could be their version. That could be the kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it kind of effed me up because, again, we've not seen or heard from Black Noir, so it could still be a possibility in some kind of weird way. R.I.P. Maeve, by the way.
Yeah, Maeve was killed off rather unceremoniously.
He said, "It's a metal prop, bitch."
So, how did that one play out? Because I remember Starlight was there, And Homelander shows up essentially, to do the call to arms. But
Yeah.
what was the issue? Because I forgot. Because Maeve stepped
It
in to
wasn't.
protect Starlight.
They was having a moment because she was getting ready to leave. She was done with it, and then May was like, so you just think you can leave? Like it's that simple? She's like, yep. Like I'm at my wit's end. And then she was like, look, you stood up for me. I think there's somebody down there inside of you that could do the same. She was like, it's easy for you to say that you have somebody to go to, and then they had that little exchange. So they leaving or whatever, and then Homelander just like, what freak you think you going? And he was like, you know what I'm about to do to you, right? And I don't know where this little dweeb dude comes from.
That was the best part.
But Jesus Christ, he got turned into a javelin. He consented mid mid throw. And then literally got turned into a bloody human accordion because he fought. By the way, that's probably one of the best displays of power this series has done yet.
Mm-mm.
Having a human folded on the chest of this guy, and and then you just see her chunk um Starlight out of the way, and then she goes forward, and then it's kind of literally all downhill for poor Maeve, man.
The last shot of Maeve, I believe, was her flying past Starlight in whatever was left of her.
Yeah, it was a hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was.
It was pretty open and shut. Shockingly enough, outside of Jupiter Jack, and I think something happened to A-Train. I can't remember. None of the other 7 ended up dying besides Maeve. Well, we'll get to the other guy because there wasn't.
Yeah, well, the lamplighter was and then
Well, yeah,
eventually.
but one more drops in issue 65. Was this also the arc where Starlight has had enough with Huey's drama bullshit and kind of just goes deuces?
No, that was in the early issues. I think it was 61 or 62. That's why I was talking about the bed thing. Um, she was like, "Look, man, it is always," and it's funny because he gets confronted about his back and forth, torn a lot. I'm on the East Bank, I'm on the West Bank type of personality about stuff by both. I guess the most stern influence in his life right now between her and Billy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny with her because the line she drops, you're like, I guess I'm just tired of this whole men are the new females gimmick. It just, Jesus Christ. So this kind of, he was like, man, I'm to the point where I can't even F my girl. All she wants to do is be his support system and give him ass, which in this, where we live in, that's practically wifey material.
That's
Uh,
definitely wavy material.
but this pushes them to and at this point, Butch is at his kind of wits end. Like he's short tempered. He's very short. But he was like, oh, every time he would like, we need to talk. Oh, for fuck's sake, what is it now, you whiny baby? So that was like 62 and 63, and I think in 64 is when we get yeah, it was the end of the line for somebody.
In 64?
Yeah, that was when it was on the roof because 65 was the confrontation and everything that gets revealed in front of in the White House. I'm talking about the Billy's gift to Huey.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See, the thing is everything I asked you, I'm pretty sure there's more coming in 66 through 71. But like the way you're describing it, I'm thinking of those. I'm completely forgetting that there's all this in 60 and 65 now. So when we get to the next week's arcs, you're gonna be like, oh, yep, the roof, yep, oh, yep, yeah, and the Starlight, it all makes sense now. So in 64, Butcher finally gives Huey his present for being a member of the boys. He has A-Train. I knew A-Train died somehow. And basically he tells Huey, like, this is what you joined for. This is your shot. Are you going to take it? And if I remember correctly, Huey does kill A-Train, doesn't he?
Yeah, because what happens, and it's effed up, and it doesn't get till like 65 where he kind of finally breaks down and tells Huey why he's been dealing with him the way he's been dealing with him. But in 64 on the roof, it comes off so effed up because it's very much a form of manipulation, to me, because like Huey's told him at this point, like, look, I'll do anything y'all need me to do, but I'm not doing no more of this death stuff, which is hilarious because immediately they had that confrontation. Um, the Seronautics or whatever this ragtag. So many of these alleged heroes in this series are only there to be fodder, like eventual fodder. Like this superhero team attacks their headquarters and gets wiped.
Yeah. I think
'Cause
they
I
were
keep
supposed to
having
be the X-Men, weren't they?
something like that. All look robotic though.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, never mind. The X-Men were somebody else.
And it's I keep having to remind myself they're on Compound V because obviously in the show, them not being on it creates a more creative lane for how they go at the seven. Because it'll be simple if it's like, oh, okay, they're on the even playing field. We can have this big 5-on-5 tete-a-tete. But here, because so many things in this thing are fodder, and also we wouldn't get to 65 issues if they didn't have a Compound V. Um, it's hilarious. So Huey ends up kind of almost killing one of these guys by hiding. And then when they on the roof, what ends up getting him because he's like, okay, well we're gonna interrogate him. They're like, nah, that's not what we're gonna do. And he starts playing these recordings of A-Train's conversation about killing Robin, and that gets him amped. And he literally turns into an all-star punter. we get another we get another headless seven. But the real no, and it went from Robin to them talking about red shirting Starlight. Because I think there was a line, um, if it bleeds, it's viable or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they tried to red shirt her when she was in the Americans, and then that's what pushed him to kick the head off, and then that so long A-Train. It's funny because in that moment, that's the first time in the series where I felt like a real similarity between him and Jesse T. Usher who plays him in the show because we've
Mm-hmm.
seen him beg like before when he was all doped up and Huey confronted him in the house and the female jumped his ass. That was hilarious. By the way, yeah. So
Wait, in the show?
that's in the show. Remember when because he was dealing with the Compound V and they set him up when Huey he tried to set Huey up and they
Okay,
set a trap
yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, it's coming back to me in the apartment, and he's like, "You are one." He's like, "Did you come alone?" "Yeah, I came alone." "Man, you are fucking stupid to come alone." And then the
because I
female
keep
comes down and fucking kneecaps him.
like, fuck this kneecap some days when to start begging. I'm like, yep, this is definitely that's him right there. That's the similarity because I keep forgetting you just went back and rewatched the series, which clearly I got plenty of time to do.
I
Um,
mean, I did.
but yeah, that was oh man, that was good. But that was a defining moment between him and Billy because it's weird like all the evidence that we've been gathering over 65 issues came to a head in this. Oh man, and we'd be remiss. And everything that happened, it is very easy to forget about what happened to Mother's Milk.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of effed up, to freaking see a magazine or DVD box cover of your dope crackhead fiend ex-wife or wife on the cover with a porn star, and in front of him kneeling is your daughter. Ooh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just gonna tell you, without giving away details, Huey finally meets Mother's Milk's mother in these last 6 issues. It gets worse.
Oh, she's still alive. Okay.
It gets worse.
Oh. And I didn't like that phone call of his daughter either. That sounded like some I'm telling you bye for the last time, but you don't know what type of stuff.
Yeah, Marcus, it gets worse.
Oh God.
The last major arc, it's the last multi-issue arc, is called the Doors Off, the bloody doors off, like blow the bloody doors off.
Yeah.
So just kind of give you an idea of what to expect. But we're not done with 65 yet, because now we have Homelander, Black Noir clone Homelander, staring each other down. Homelander flips shit, goes nuts, realizes that Black Noir was the one who ruined Homelander's life, and goes for the killing shot. But what he doesn't realize, or doesn't seem to care, is that Black Noir is literally Homelander. So all it takes is one punch, and he literally takes off Homelander's jaw, killing him instantly. The one thing I will say about this, you finally kill off Homelander, and you immediately pull focus back to Billy, to the point where you don't ever actually see Homelander's body, and the way in which he dies is kind of regulated to a 4-panel page, sorry. And it's, well, yes, the center panel, it's still buried in the other panels. It felt like it should have been a bigger moment, and Garth Ennis kind of dismisses it in his own work by having it be a part of a throwaway moment to a bigger showdown with Homelander and Black Noir. Now, to be fair, we've been building up Homelander for 65 issues, 5 years. But in actuality, this shift of the focus goes from Butcher to Homelander to Butcher to Black Noir, because Black Noir is the one who cops to, yeah, I did all that stuff to your wife and I killed her too, and I enjoyed it. So Butcher's rage is now directed at a different person, admittedly so, but still, this is like, watching Darth Vader die in, episode 5, only to, then have a 20-second showdown with Palpatine in episode 6. Like, no one, it wouldn't have the same impact. So I felt that was kind of rushed. But the military shows up, kills practically every superhero with compound V tracking missiles, and an explosion severely hurts Black Noir, resulting in Billy gunning down Black Noir with like a 50 caliber machine gun, and then the military starts shooting him up, and Noir's still not dead, so Billy goes over there, and I think he just he's got like a fracture in his skull, so Billy just like rips out his brain or some shit like that. It was, whew, hell way to end a coup, that's for sure.
This is the first time like that particular last bit between him and Homelander literally felt like something that would have been in, like at the end of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like all that anger had been built up and aimed. Like this whole time he's just been. It reminds me of that line from The Incredible Hulk. I can't control it, but maybe I can aim it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just been an aimed weapon, kind of pulling back on the trigger, releasing the trigger, depending on the scenario this whole time. And then once it finally he gets to the person he's gonna shoot his head off, he has to aim at a different target. And you would think he would just be exploding with rage, but he took time to really like live in the moment of it. And the fact that he got to that point, and you just that great shot of he's looking up at him, and you just see him with the crowbar over his shoulder and the sun beaming. Like, that was great. But he kills the guy, and then just all of that emotion just releases, and like in tears finally, because he's like, at last, Becky, like, I can let go of all this stuff, knowing full well like this is the last thing you would have wanted from me. And it was some like beautiful tragedy in there for him. And him telling, Huey to hold up and all that. Like, it was some real stuff. Like you said, it was anticlimactic for the other Homelander, I guess Homelander V1. I guess we can call him at this point.
Homelander
Or
V1.
V1. Um, I wouldn't imagine he's alive. No, he's not alive because dude came out. Dude came out of White House as intestines with with a piece of Homelander V1. So yeah, he's gone. But yeah, I mean it's weird we still have an arc to go because seemingly this is it.
But Marcus, if you think a little hard, not really hard, because it's kind of been telegraphed since issue 1. Who is the real villain of the series? Don't say it. Just sit in it. It'll all make sense next week. As far as what you said about Butcher being this weapon to aim, that's something that I'm glad is being carried over from the comic, because that was something that Butcher had an issue with Mallory before Butcher killed Mallory was, you made me this way. You put the gun in my hand, you pointed me in the direction, you said go. And in the show, because I just rewatched it, not as verbose, but Butcher essentially says, you owe me, Mallory. And, the implication was that Mallory got Butcher into this so that
Yeah.
Mallory now needs to pay off that debt for dragging Billy in. Just because she left doesn't mean Billy was guaranteed to leave as well. So that idea that Mallory used Billy Butcher as their perfect weapon, be it he or she, in their fight against supers is very clear and prevalent, and that's a great fucking analogy with the Hulk, because that's exactly what Billy Butcher is. He is a weapon.
And they did this great thing to kick this arc off where he was getting ready because everything's coming to a head, both his plans and Homelander's. So we think, or so he thought, and they do this last great little thing, and it kind of really contextualizes now like where his head is at. Before everything hits the fan, it was like, all right, we ready to go. All right, Tara, come on, mate. And then he just stops as he's walking, goes, fuck. And
That
that was
that
so
one
good.
hurt.
Yeah.
Fucking terror. Love you,
That
buddy.
yeah, shout out to Tara, man. But yeah, between that and yeah, what else was it? Like this it was interesting to me reading like just how much, 'cause it's almost like vintage America thing, create a monster and then not really have a plan B to take care of the monster, so you create other monsters to handle that monster, and then like it's, get as much benefit out of it as you can, and then let the monsters eat up each other. Like this whole, like a lot of this between Homeland or Black Noir's machinations, Vought, and like everybody else that kind of was moving a lot of these superhuman pieces at each other. Because again, they at least threw between Homeland and Vought, they threw and besides those teenagers that Huey saved, at least 3 super teams got wasted going after the boys.
Are we counting the 7 in that 3? Because there was the X-Men group, there was the Tech group,
Yeah.
and then there's 4, because there's that little group that Butcher took care of practically by himself.
Yeah, you want us really right. And again, keep constantly around myself that is Compound V. And shout out to
I think we're actually looking at 5 or 6, 7. Well, 12 because of all the ones in Russia.
oh god, oh yeah, cause they killed the vagina chick that was on the plane too, right?
Yes, they did. I
Yeah,
forgot about her.
vagina. Um, fantastic. No, but by the way, the names for this security group that old dude hired. Shout out to that bubblegum guy. That was hilarious. Your whole crew was getting slaughtered. Gum? No? It's freaking hilarious. But yeah, it's just funny how like this whole thing with these heroes and getting rid of them was basically that the guys still alive. Let them fight.
I was just about to say, Marcus. One of the things I think we took away from this is that Godzilla 2014 was literally just the boys, only
Oh
much
man.
quicker. So, Frenchie loses an arm. Huey loses a girl. Butcher loses a purpose. Mother's Milk did a lot of research. Fair enough.
The fact that we have gotten this far into this series and there's still so much meat left on the bone for Milk, Butch, and obviously we got to finish thing between Huey and Starlight. Oh,
I think you're going to find this last arc to be the best representation of Billy Butcher's love for Mother's Milk. And also just how different he is now that his purpose is gone. Because you'll see that he's always had MM's best intentions at heart, even if he hasn't always been the best person while trying to get him there. So,
yeah, and credit to Garth Ennis for he feels like he's as brilliant as he is insane with a lot of these issues, which has been an ongoing theme. Because again, you pull off that conversation between Huey and Mother's Milk on that bridge, and then like the 9/11 imagery and just that story, and then stuff like this. Like it's some real deep moments in this series. It's not just, I mean, we can still look at stuff like Hero Gasm. He's taken as many liberties as you can, but he does stuff like this, and it's brilliant. And I'm looking forward to the thing with Butcher because it's not like we haven't seen like the brotherly, almost fatherly big brother type of instances he's had with both MM and Huey, specifically in these last few issues. And I think, I mean, obviously losing his dad and stuff and his whole family stuff, but losing Becky and then losing Tara, specifically Tara was like the last stretches because when it comes to MM, just how quick he came to his aid when it came to his daughter. The conversations they had, that little sit down where he was like, "Look, dude, if you want to call me out, can you do it in private? Like, don't do it in front of the bloody crew." And those exchanges, like just how he literally got his ass damn near beat to death going looking for this dude's crackhead wife.
Yeah.
So and then you look at that little sit down they had on plane with Huey, like, "Look, dude, I just wanted you to be tough, cause you can't do what we do and be soft. At any given time, we could be freaking having freaking croissants, and then somebody busts up in the headquarters and we got to kill them. That's just what this is. This is a position we put ourselves in, so you got to be ready." But I'm definitely looking forward to it because they did the thing where the reveal for what happened with MM and his mother, the daughter with the porn stuff, his immediate reaction was like, "Oh crap, I need to help him with this." But he was so fixated on finally getting Homelander because this was the final stretch that nothing else mattered. Like that's what I think hit hardest the Huey when he told him everything. Butcher was like, "Okay, what was the second thing?" He was like, "What? I just told you I got raped. I just told you I got raped. You just gonna gloss over that? Yeah, it's a thumb in the ass." It's like it's so it showed just how fixated he was. But there's always been like little instances where he's always had their best interest at heart. Like when he called old dude and he was like, if Frenchie and the female ain't out of there in about 30 minutes, you're not gonna be able to conceive the way I'm gonna kill you. So he looked out for his crew, and I think that's coming with the second season because he completely like left him ass out in the finale, which is why Huey stepped up. So it's gonna be and kudos to Carl Urban. I don't think you could have cast anybody else to play the level of nuance you need with this character the way he's doing it. Well, even definitely not the guy that plays Homelander because there's so many layers to this sicko. So they definitely got the casting and stuff right, but the liberties and the things that they're pulling from the book, obviously there's certain things you just can't pull directly from this book. It'll literally get you canceled mid-episode, but it'll literally get it yanked off the ass as airing.
Or you'd have to start airing exclusively on Pornhub.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's already scenes from the show on there.
How would you know, Marcus?
History begets history.
Research, scientific analysis.
I take our show very seriously, but well,
At least
yeah,
one of
man,
us does.
it's it's just it's great, and I'm definitely looking forward to because there's also something like little romantic undercurrents between like that secretary guy who really did a staring contest with Homelander, and Homelander blinked because he was like, "Look, dude, I'll jump, okay?" It was like, "Oh,
Oh
you think
yeah,
it's a game? You think it's a game? Watch me." It was like, if you did anything worth a damn, I would. I was like, "Wow, who is this guy?"
he's the head of VOD, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's the head of bot, and then like the security chick or the girl he's putting in charge, like she's getting attached, and I'm wondering like, it got to be something else to this guy. So I'm definitely looking forward to this last stretch because if your hints are any indication, it's finna be a hell of a finale.
Oh, it's going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be bloody and violent and perfect boys fodder. So I want to take a second and talk about a movie I recently watched, Resident Evil Vendetta. And Marcus, I no longer trust any critic ever at any point in time. That's not me. This is one of the dumbest, goofiest, bonkers ass movies I've ever seen, and I loved every goddamn minute of it. It was amazing. Without going too deep into spoilers, it features arguably two of the three most predominant and protagonists of Resident Evil franchise. Chris Redfield and Leon S. Kennedy. Obviously, Jill Valentine is the third, but she wasn't in this. We got to see, this is a continuation of the series of animated movies that have been coming out for the last few years. They're all right. The first one's okay, but really dark. This in terms of like lighting, like it's really hard to see things. The second one has some really cool fight scenes, but none of the characters kind of made an impact. This one was fantastic, though. It features Chris and company trying to stop a really interesting idea for a virus. Now, Marcus, I'm sure you know something about the Resident Evil franchise. You may have seen the live action movies, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously, there's something called the T virus, the G virus, the S virus. There's fucking 27, 38, 117 different viruses, man.
TV virus.
Right? There's the PG-13 virus, Triple X virus, the Vin Diesel virus. No one wants that one either. That one's completely tame, but no one wants it. I think this one involved the T virus, but essentially, the virus is, transmitted through bite to bite, and sometimes it's in water. And as soon as you ingest the blood or water or whatever, it turns you into a zombie or like a giant fucking terrible monster thing. In this one, the main villain, basically poisoned the entire Great Lakes region. He infected them, but no one turned into a zombie or some type of monster yet because it was a series of things that would have to happen in order. You ingest what they call the trigger, so like you drink it, and then they release a gas that activates the trigger. So that basically means that New York, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, fuck Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, like all these cities were now carrying the strain to become zombies. But all they needed was the gas to be released for them to do it. And if you fly a plane over a big major city and you drop that gas, all of a sudden everyone's turned into a zombie. Hell of an idea. Loved it. And the guy did this because an unnamed government decided that they weren't happy with this guy. I think his name was Arias, and he was an arms dealer. So they killed him because they didn't like that he was selling guns to the wrong side. Well, they missed, but ended up killing his wife and killed his family and all that. So he goes out on a vendetta. And Chris, is on the wrong side of things. They go to a mansion to start the movie, which is a great callback to the games. Zombies attack the crew, obviously. And then we get to see the villains. You see a blonde woman, this giant hulking Bane-like creature, like Bane from like the video games Bane, like that kind of goofy, over-the-top size of Bane. That kind of character. And the main villain, Arias. And throughout the movie, we get to see Rebecca Chambers, another character from the Resident Evil franchise, 0, 1. I think that's all she's been in so far. And now she's in this movie. She's a doctor now, working on antivirals and stuff like that. stuff you'd expect in a zombie outbreak movie. But the whole thing culminates in Chris and his unit has recruited a depressed, drunk Leon to help them stop this outbreak in New York. And basically, he tells his crew, like, hey, go blow up these tanker trucks that are releasing the gas that turns people into zombies. I'm going to go get Rebecca, who's now been kidnapped by this Arias dude. I'm going to double check that name. I just want to make sure I'm fucking not goofing it up. Yeah, Glenn Arias. So he goes to this building, and I'm telling you what, the fight scenes in this movie are fantastic. Whether it's the opening fight scene, whether it's the stuff with Rebecca in the Chicago Institute where she's running from zombies and shit, or if it's in this hallway scene where Chris is fighting this horde of zombies that are swarming over him. It's fantastic. The animation, the fluidity, and this is done on a shoestring budget too, so that makes it even more impressive. But at one point, they when they go to start destroying these trucks before they go to save Rebecca, there's a Jeep and a bike, and Leon calls dibs on the bike, so he jumps on it and takes off, and they do their thing. So fucking Chris is mowing down these zombies with this CQC close quarters combat techniques where he's like kicking out ankles and shooting guys in the knee and then shooting guys in the head, and then just fantastic imagery to watch. And I'm sitting there kind of laughing, like, what would be funny if Leon showed up on his motorcycle to help? Marcus, I swear to God, I was joking. Because 20 seconds later, Leon flies into the fucking hallway corridor in a building on his goddamn motorcycle. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is the kind of movie we're watching today. And the two of them beat up all the zombies, kill the zombies, and then he's like, I'll go save Rebecca, you go do blah, blah, blah. So Chris goes up and fights Arias, and another great fucking fight scene. Arias gets thrown down a goddamn shaft and ends up dying, but he gets merged in with the Bane-looking beast, and now he's like this big fucking evil, ugly dude. And he starts fighting Chris again. And I'm like, this movie's missing Leon still on his motorcycle, now riding on top of this building's roof. Because that's what this movie needs. Marcus, I swear to God, I was joking. Because now 20 seconds later, Leon, in an elevator, rolls out on his motorcycle on this fucking rooftop. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I bet you he's going to throw that motorcycle at the beast to kill him. I don't think I was joking that time, because at the end of the movie, Leon literally throws his motorcycle. He drives it, actually. Launches it off the roof, hits the main villain. I'm just like, this is fucking bonkers, and I love every goddamn second of it. Ends really great. Sets up a potential sequel. It would be the fourth movie in the franchise of the Resident Evil films. And I'm telling you what, Marcus, I went and saw that some grades are good. They got 4 out of 5 stars from Dread Central. Collider gave it a B-. All great. But IGN gave it a 4.5 out of 10, and Rotten Tomatoes, even the fan side of things, not just the critics, gave it a 43. This film was fantastic.
IGN has lost so much credibility for their rankings, for they not far behind Collider. But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad to hear like just how much you enjoyed it. You said this is animated, right?
Yeah, it's CGI'd.
It's got. See, I'm glad man you can like appreciate stuff because we don't get like too bent out of shape about stuff like that. Because I've been able to like enjoy different forms of stuff like that kind of almost 3D-ish CGI type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that when the story is good and you can kind of get past that, but certain people just don't allow themselves to go beyond anything that they're not used to. So really cool hearing you just how much you enjoyed that, and it's got me even more amped to not only watch that, but to definitely get off into this to watch this new Mortal Kombat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that thing this weekend? Just to check that out, because like that level of bonkerness and violence is just like done correctly. Like we both appreciate a good amount of camp when it's committed to, and it's just stuff that's enjoyable. So I'm glad you got to enjoy it, because a lot of people, I don't know how people feel about the actual films, but obviously you could take more liberties when it's something like that. So
yeah, and the live action films definitely took their liberties. The thing with this film it's technically canonical. This film, as well as Resident Evil Degeneration from 2008 and Resident Evil Damnation from 2012, are part of the video game universe, but they're in between. Let me see here. Damnation, I think, was between 6 and 7 of the games. The story is set between the events of Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 7. Damnation. The first one was Degeneration, which I can't say that without thinking Degeneration X. I just can't. I think this was set before or after. I think it was set after 2000 the Resident Evil 4 game, and Resident Evil Damnation was set, I think, before 2000 the Resident Evil 5. So they're all canonical. Like what happens in these games are part of the series lore. In these movies, I should say, are in these series lore. So if you're a fan of the video game franchise at home and you're like, oh yeah, this sounds great, check them out. They all have something good about them. Like Degeneration, like the first half of the film featured zombies overtaking an airport, which was freaky as hell. And Damnation had this great tyrant liquor fight. And if you've ever played the games, you know exactly what a tyrant and a liquor is. So I would check that out if you're a fan of that. I would say Damnation is the one I'm least familiar with, and might be, because I'm the least familiar with, might be my least favorite as well. But even the first of the live-action movies, Marcus, my favorite. It's fantastic. It's a good film. Maybe not Resident Evil, at least what we were hoping for, but it's pretty solid. This is better than that film. Resident Evil Vendetta is better than Resident Evil 1 live-action. In my
That's
opinion.
interesting. It's funny because you don't actually get a lot of times canon across two separate mediums like that. So that's cool, at least, because I mean, and that's probably something they don't get enough credit for, because people are too busy trying to nitpick it to death or whatever. But that's cool. I mean, we've seen it in different versions before, whether like maybe more so stuff has been referenced. Like obviously, I think maybe we've seen it, like I guess what Teen Titans Go has been doing. Like canonical references than maybe straight up down canonical, but that's sick. Like I wish they almost do like, because I don't know when we're gonna get the series now, but I almost wish they do like an animated Blade.
That would be cool. I would be down for that. You know, I'm still holding out hope that we get an eventual Blade Cross Punisher matchup, movie, comic, whatever. But instead of like, the two guys that they got doing the roles now, we go back to Wesley Snipes and Thomas Jane.
Awesome. Thomas Jane Blade with Wesley Snipes from Blade 2.
Yes.
Blade 2. Oh man, that people don't get that movie no credit. That is a damn good movie with some damn good, like that fight between Blade and Nomak. The first one fight they had, then the fight,
the light grid fight where he's fighting the Queen and her bodyguard.
Yeah, and the silent choreography fight, that was sick. And then the fight he had with him, it was superhero-esque at the end, but it was still good, and it matched the level of power they were both on, man. But that movie really doesn't get enough credit, if for nothing else, than the interaction between Blade and Reinhardt.
Dude, Ron Perlman, fantastic. And you have Daryl Dixon, what's his name? I can't remember.
Is that Scud?
Yeah, Scuds. It's so great. I love it.
Over their lines, they're like, you want us to spray ourselves with some suck puppy's nut juice?
I need to look up his name because it's gonna fucking bother the hell out of me now. Walking Dead. Daryl. Norman Reedus. There it is. Yeah, Norman Reedus was Scuds. So
that is him.
Mm-hmm. So overall, I would actually say that Blade 2 is my favorite of the Blade films.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go super controversial. There's some really good scenes in one.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite, though.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh well, I keep forgetting. Ryan Reynolds basically puts the third one on his back, so
Well, that just, it's so just.
we can't forget about our boy Dominic. Dominic
Right?
Purcell.
Like, he's great. Like, he basically fang bangs Erica Serrera in a ear piercing chair. And then you have Wesley Snipes as a demonic, blood sucking, kill all vampire going, Coochie coo. Like, damn, that's some funny shit.
It's just, oh man, it's funny because, by the way, like I don't think they also don't get enough credit for the amount of great actors they like. Sanaa Lathan's just the woman is timeless. Sanaa Lathan in the second one. No, she was in the first one. The guy that played Deacon Frost was good. Um,
Steven Dorff.
the guy that played and I freaking I can't believe I forgot his name because he's played Harvey Dent on Gotham. But the guy that lost his hand this
Yes.
second
He
in the
was
movie that
also
was
in Sons of Anarchy as the former
Stalk.
Fed.
Yeah, oh the crazy fit.
Yeah,
Oh
who
my God.
killed the prostitute and was just looking to kill Jax because he was coked out of his head.
Just coked out his head. But yeah, I mean, it's so many great moments on that first one. I think I've grown to appreciate the first one over time because now, of course, they run them back to back like they do the Fast and Furious series. But just so many great, like him confronting the girl, like if you want to live in the world, you best to learn to pull the trigger. And then who can forget? Help me, Frost! Help me, Frost! He's gonna kill me, bro. Like, come on with some goddamn dignity.
So we have a show to fill in between next week and the week after because that's the week Zach's off. I suggest, just throwing this one out there, if you feel you have the time and the desire, we watch all 3 Blade movies
Okay.
for the week after next. Not next week, the week after next.
Okay. All right.
And that'll be the entire show. We're going to review all 3 Blade movies. And it's going to be fantastic. Honest to God, outside of Wesley Snipes in Major League and Demolition Man, where he was hilarious,
Oh yeah.
the only movies I really seem to like Wesley Snipes in, besides those 2, are Blade movies. Although I'm pretty sure he was good. He was great in New Jack City.
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to reference that. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of New Jack, but I appreciate it for like the pop culture, juggernaut that it's become.
I mean, an entire pro wrestler named himself New Jack after that movie. So
Oh, we've been suffering ever since as a community.
yes, we have wrestling community. But yeah, like Snipes is kind of hit or miss on some others though. Expendables 3 wasn't really. Expendables 2 wasn't really. The Expendables suck.
Yeah, he just had a certain magic with that character, specifically with the first 2 Blades. I mean, he brought it back to for the third one in a way, but when you go on, we talked about all the behind the scenes nonsense. It makes a lot of sense the way that film came out.
Right.
I'll go back and talk about so he was like be in character and leave, like just only talk to people through sticky notes and then sign the sticky notes from Blade, like this. Like what was he on back then? But
Everything.
he just had a certain magic. That's why I'm wishing they kind of fast track the reboot of it because I think Mahershala could really take it and do something, bring a new flair to it. But yeah, seeing him on the same screen with Thomas Janes and just that banter back and forth. Oh man, that would be great.
That'd be great. Mahershala was Cottonmouth, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, but yeah, probably one of a wasted villain with like a fantastic name, Eli Demaskinos.
Yeah. That's a great name. Very Greek, too. So let's talk Cassian Andor. Star Wars has announced Cassian Andor for the Disney Plus, and apparently Stellan Skarsgård is going to be in the series, assuming he finalizes his deal. It will be a prequel series, so you already know that Chad is out. I don't do prequels. Although I don't know what the fuck The Mandalorian is, but I'm in.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen to The Mandalorian. Technically, yes, The Mandalorian might be happening right after the fall of the Empire. But also, I don't know who these characters are. I don't know the time frame in which the show is taking place. And I don't know what's going to happen to The Mandalorian. So I don't consider it a prequel in that sense. However, with Cassian Andor, he dies at the end. I know how his story goes. So I don't need to watch it. That said, it is a series that might bring fans in. And outside of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's still being kicked around, I don't know if it's going forward or not. I hope it is. Because Ewan McGregor's fantastic.
Yes.
With this one, it's going to be one of those wait and sees. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I probably won't watch it because I don't really care. And I'm not being facetious when I say I don't care about prequels. I don't. The whole reason I want to watch the Mayans TV show on FX is because I know it's not a prequel. But when they were talking about originally doing it, it was going to be a prequel. It was going to be set in the 60s and 70s, and it was going to feature I forget the name of the guy, but the guy who was running the Mayans in Sons of Anarchy. It was going to feature his father, I think, is the original idea.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, nah, I don't do prequels. If you started the series in the 60s, all right, fine.
Yeah. It's funny because I like the way they did it. Somewhere like Zack Snyder, and I know the movie doesn't get a lot of, because it's kind of hard to follow the original 300, but I dig Rise of the Empire. And that wasn't a prequel because that ran congruent with 300. In fact, it was going on at the same time in the movie. So I dig that, like the whole concept with the minds. Like, it's so easy to get wrapped up in Charmin's charter that you kind of forget. Like, no, like throughout the entire show, there have been other charters that have been brought in, rivaled with, feuded with, and all that stuff. And other stuff was going on in other places while stuff was happening in Charmin. It's easy to forget that because, like I said, you get so wrapped up in everything because it is just a F ton going on in that show. At any one given time, like that, just to find a quiet episode is, rare. But yeah, so I think the Minds is, I got to get back into that because I think they about to go off into their second or third season.
They just finished their second in November of 2019,
Gotcha.
and will probably be doing their third season, assuming there's no delays, because everything's been pushed back a bit.
Yeah.
In probably October of this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, but like I feel you on that because I was feeling like in limbo, and obviously it's canceled now, but I was feeling kind of iffy about Krypton at first, but then it was such an unexplored aspect of that particular world because we only kind of got it or get it through. Well, obviously you and Zach know about the kind of back history more of a Krypton from the comics, but in terms of live action, animated, what have you, like we only hear about like through the eyes of like Zod, Clark, Kal-El, and then Kara, but we don't never see it.
Mm-hmm.
So to actually have it play out, I thought that was really cool in the way they executed a lot of stuff. Wish it could have stayed, but TV is wacky. So yeah, but like you, I can't say I'm interested either. Like I'm so wrapped up in the Mandalorian. I'm like, the show was cool on its own. Then they freaking put the cherry on top with Baby Yoda, and then that's taking the world by storm. And the concept of bringing, and we don't even need to talk about the level of gloriousness that is Rosario Dawson potentially coming in as Ahsoka. Come on, man.
I've never watched that series, the one that Ahsoka's based in, but
Yeah.
I don't say no to Miss Dawson too often. And it all started for me. I remember the first day I fell in love with her. It was my first viewing of 5 of Clerks 2. Yes, I did. I did go to the movie theater 5 times to watch Clerks 2. That did 100% happen. Always thought she was beautiful. I don't remember much of what she was in prior to Clerks 2 though, because that was like 06. She takes Dante onto the roof of the movies, which is the cow-based McDonald's in that universe, and she starts doing this kind of little saunter. I don't even know. Like she's just popping her hips and like doing finger guns as things are moving on her, and it's to the ABCs by the Jackson 5, and I'm just like, is this love that I'm feeling?
Know what I'm doing after the show.
I must warn you, Clerks 2 has some very intriguing language.
Yeah, yeah, I think you told me that before. I think is this the one with Wanda Sykes in it too?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes, Wanda Sykes and I forget the male comedian's name. They're sitting there riffing. They were given a script of what Dante and Randall are discussing, and Wanda Sykes, and I know the guy's name. It's like Gruff or Grim or something like that. And they're sitting there riffing. They're just fucking ab-libbing, and it's fucking hilarious. And at one point, Randall says like a cock stain, and Wanda Sykes like, "What's a cock stain?" And the guy goes, "I don't know. I'm about to do a cock stain to you, though." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" But Randall, Randall's very much one of these guys that goes over the top with his defenses of things. And there's a racial slur that's used, not the one you're thinking. It involves another word for a deck and my favorite marsupials. Well, not marsupials. Monkeys. What the fuck is a monkey? It's not a marsupial. What is it? Gorilla? No. Great ape? No. What's the phylum for a monkey? I gotta look this up. Hang on. I know this.
wait a minute. The group or the name? Because I was wait a minute. That's not the name either. Because I'm immediately going back to Dunstan Check saying Pongo Pygmy.
He's a Pongo Pygmalius. No, that's only for orangutans.
Exactly. That's why I was like, no, that's not it. That's exclusive. That's orangutan exclusive.
How do you spell phylum? I like how I Google monkey phylum. They're like, do you mean monkey movies? Well, I've seen most movies with monkeys, so yes.
So glad that didn't. I'm so glad you didn't type in anything that sent you to Mojo Jojo Hentai. That would have killed it.
What?
No, just because the internet is a evil dwelling place, I would imagine that they've done something horrid with the pop-up girls.
Oh, you know they did. So primates. Monkeys are considered primates. So
Yeah.
it's a racial slur for primates and decks essentially. And Randall is adamant that it's not racist, and he's defending it.
Yeah.
It does not go well for Randall. And Rosario Dawson's character's like making fries and like a burger when he says it. And that leads into Randall's like, it's not like I said the N-word, but he doesn't say the N-word. He actually says the word. And Rosario Dawson just drops everything and looks at Randall like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we definitely got to watch it now.
Oh,
Add it to the weekend.
it's so funny. And this came out right before the Transformer movies came out. So like it opens up with the geeky 18-year-old really religious virgin nerd character geeking out about Optimus Prime being on a live action movie. It's amazing. And then Randall just shits all over it. There's a Star Wars Lord of the Rings debate. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so good. It's so raunchy though. It's like, be aware, this movie is not for anyone under 18. That's a hard no on a 12-year-old watching this film because they will be scarred forever. Speaking of scarred forever, a lot of fans freaked out last night when a video of Chadwick Boseman surfaced, looking very frail and thin. He was taking the opportunity to give a shout out and talk about the COVID-19 of it all. And he was doing it while wearing a Jackie Robinson Brooklyn Dodgers hat. For those who don't know, Chadwick Boseman played Jackie Robinson in a biopic. And it was a movie that I've yet to see yet, but I want to because I love baseball and I like Chadwick Boseman. So, yeah. Now, with this, it got people talking because his face looked very thin. His clothes looked pretty baggy, but it was mostly his neck and jawline that seemed to have made people concerned about him. Now, this was a dude who looked like a linebacker in Black Panther. Got a lot of people talking. And worst part is this, there's still no real, statement from his camp about anything. At least that I saw before we went on the air. I don't know if that's changed since then. Some people are saying, well, it's just the angle, it's just the scruffy beard, it's just the loose fitting sweater. He's fine. I don't know, Marcus. Do you have a take on the Thin Panther controversy?
Like, I think it's just one of those things where it's such a stark contrast from how we was introduced to him through that character. Because I think he did put on a lot of mass. Because we got introduced to him in what that was Civil War.
Yeah.
So
he was in 42 before then, and he was pretty jacked in 42 as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of those actors. And this is just another piece of the art form where changes his body for his role. But I do think he is one of those guys who is naturally thin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like from a downward angle. But I think probably they not trying to put anything out about it because to them it's like I'm not finna address nothing that's not, he's not one of those people that extends himself a lot anyway. In terms of like the whole being vibrant and whatever on social media. So when he does something even like that video, it's probably for something that he actually cares about. But he probably don't pay a lot of attention to the fluff. But I think he's cool. I just think he's one of those naturally thinner guys, and I don't know if he's been working on anything, so he's not, necessarily had the need to kind of potentially buff up or whatever. I'm hoping that it's not nothing, and I'm thinking it's not nothing because I don't know if we'd be seeing him as much as we've seen him if it was like if we saw him at the NBA game of All Star, and I don't know if people were critiquing him more for his hair or what, but I feel like he was that size then. They just had something else to critique. So I think he's cool, but you never know. A lot of these celebrities keep far more under wraps than we know, and then we don't find out till years later. Like so many of these relationships that we see are staged. So you just never know.
The best staged, not staged relationship of all time is the fact that, technically speaking, Keanu Reeves is technically married to Winona Ryder.
Technically speaking?
Did you ever hear this story?
No.
Okay, so they met. I think they met on the set of Dracula, the 1991 film with Commissioner Gordon. He was playing Dracula. Fucking real name. I can't remember what his real name is. The guy who played Gordon in the Bale
The
Batman.
Raimi film?
No.
The Bale Batman. Freaking
Something. That iconic name of what's his face, Gary Oldman. That's what it is.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. That is.
So it's the Dracula Gary Oldman film, and Winona Ryder was playing because it's based off of Bram Stoker's book, and Keanu Reeves was playing Hartley, I think, Jonathan Harker, and Winona Ryder was playing Mina, Jonathan Harker's fiance. So they're playing, love interests in the film. Well, I think they're shooting it on location, or they're shooting it with like people from the area who are, aware of authentic traditions in the. I think it's like the Romanian countryside is where the film is based. Transylvania, so wherever Transylvania is, I think it's in Romania. So they bring in like an actual Romanian priest for the scene. And they do a dress rehearsal for the scene where they exchange rings and they do the whole ceremony. And Winona Ryder's like, technically speaking, that makes us married. Like, that was a real ceremony that was performed. We just were going along with the rules. And I'm just like, That's not a bad way to get married if you don't want her to know about it. And it reminds me of a scene that happened in The Office where essentially that's what Dwight tried to do to his ex-girlfriend. Was he brought in an actual like Amish minister to do it. And I was like, that's funny as fuck. So they're not legally married, but technically they were married. And Keanu Reeves thought that was the funniest shit in the world because Keanu Reeves is the nicest guy in the world. I love Keanu. It's a good dude. Speaking of good dudes, Marcus, you are a good dude. I know you like your pulpy kind of throwback entertainment. You like your period pieces and stuff. Well, you might be getting another period piece, only this time with superheroes, because the Green Hornet and Kato have been optioned out by Universal, and apparently there is interest in doing a modern film, or possibly one that's set in the original 60s. In a statement from the project, Michael Helfand of Amzia Entertainment said that he is looking to make a film that existing fans will love and new fans will love to discover. Obviously, the character became kind of a secondary piece in pop culture lore because the Green Hornet was always assisted by Kato, and Kato was played by the famous Bruce Lee. They did make a movie in like 2008 starring Seth Rogen, and it was not good. I'll rewatch it and see if I feel any different, but it was very much just stoner comedy with superheroes. Not even superheroes, just a dude in a mask. But Marcus, how would you feel about a pulp Green Arrow film coming out? Not Green Arrow, Green Hornet film coming out. Would that be something that would be an interest piquer for you?
Yeah, I'd be interested. Specifically because I mean, like I like Seth Rogen, but it's certain stuff I like with Seth Rogen, and that just wasn't one of them. But I did like the concept of that character and like what that movie could have potentially been had it been in the hands of somebody else. Maybe with some different pieces in terms of the actors in that movie. But yeah, I'm always down for some superhero stuff. I mean, look, one of both our favorite movies is The Rocketeer, so we down for some stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's good that no, because it's you can't keep tackling the same stuff over and over. So it's good to hear that some certain people are looking towards other stuff to potentially go at. So yeah, I'll be interested to check it out.
I think I'll check it out, depending on who's in it and how they go about it. Personally, I would love like a cinematic universe with like the Green Hornet, Kato, fucking Phantom, and Rocketeer.
So,
I'd be geeked for that. Oh, that'd be so cool. So we go on to our last story, one that has me very concerned. J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot is leading a television series adaptation of the Justice League Dark franchise for HBO Max. Pretty much all but concerning the demise of the DC Universe streaming service. Oh boy. No details have been announced, but we know what J.J. Abrams have done to Star Trek. It's not been great. He essentially fired Gene Roddenberry. He basically banished Gene Roddenberry's son into the doldrums and fired one of the old showrunners who were integral to the success and popularity of the 90s franchises that became synonymous with peak Trek talent and quality. So we know that there are some questions, but Bad Robot's also done some really good stuff. J.J. Abrams did Cloverfield. Great fucking movie. The Star Trek movies, 2 are pretty good. Then you have the third. It tried. I like that they had Idris Elba and what's her name from the Kingsman with the blade feet?
Sofia Boutella.
Yes, Sofia Boutella. Granted, they put 2 of the only non-white characters in prosthetics, and in fact made one of them white. But the Sofia Boutella alien character was one of the coolest looking fucking aliens I've ever seen in Star Trek. Like that was so cool.
Yeah. Brought that character to life too. They could almost did like a mini spin-off series with that character.
I would fucking love that. I don't know how long that process is because she's like, see, like when people call white people white, we're peach. Like if you go into the crayon color decks, of Crayola, and you start holding up colors next to our skin, white's not going to look like us, but peach will. She was full on white and white, like paper white. And I'm just like that, like the contrast with like the white skin, the white hair, and like the black. I don't know if that was like supposed to be like facial features, like those black stripes, or if like that was like war paint or whatever. But she looked fantastic, and then she had that very cool, almost Power Ranger esque battle armor shit she was wearing. Ah, she looked so cool. And she's Sophia Boutella, so you know she's gorgeous too. But as far as Bad Robot goes, they've hit some snafus along the way. Marcus, how do you feel about a Bad Robot-led Justice League Dark franchise?
I think the most intriguing potential for me with it is potential to finally see like a live action Etrigan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I've always had an appreciation for that the dichotomy of that character and just everything that comes with him. But other than that, kind of just iffy. Like I kind of just wanted to take it one step at a time. Like we kind of obviously we got and like you said, this is kind of again putting doubts with the whole DC universe thing. But we got obviously Titans and Doom Patrol, and I mean, right now, just because I was thinking about the other day, like we've been just so stalled for the stuff around the character. I just wanted them to kind of like focus on nailing the whole Green Lantern of it all, and then potentially moving. Now, obviously, I know that's dealing with Jeff Johns, so this is two separate things. But I kind of just want them to, because I don't want to turn into like this streaming version of the CW, where it's like, oh, they're doing some good stuff over here, season 5 Arrow, and then it's like freaking Batwoman over here. So it's like, hopefully he's learned a lot of lessons from his Star Trek tenure, and can right a lot of wrongs and kind of maybe do a more honed version of what's good about his skill set when it comes to this sort of stuff with that. But yeah, like I said, I think a lot of I mean, because there's only like been 2 live action Constantines. Keanu and
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. So, I think a lot of people are so attached to that character. I don't know who they get to recast for him, but that it's definitely intriguing because I mean, what they've done in the animated stuff has been good. And if you nail Constantine and Etrigan and Zatanna, which I'm right there along with Chad, I would appreciate a bust accurate Zatanna. But
that was mentioned off air.
But but I gotta say, if we don't get that, but we get a quality actress, because we've seen when it's been the other way around. It's like she looks great, can't act worth a damn.
We're not talking about anyone in specifically, like, certain Ruby Roses or Rosie Rubies or whatever her name is. What? What? So, what? We don't name drop on this show. We don't do that. So it's one of those things where with Bad Robot, they did Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Nice.
Yeah. That's a great film.
Yep.
You're short. I know. I've not seen all of Rogue Nation yet, and I haven't gotten even started on Fallout. Though that's probably I might do that tonight.
It's funny. I've seen that Cavill hand cock scene so many times now. I feel like that's the whole movie.
Wait, which scene?
The clip online when it first came out of Cavill doing the Hancock thing in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I completely, because they're like Cavill, and I'm thinking Rogue Nation, not Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol. I'm like, who's Cavill and what? And I realized you're talking about Henry Cavill, who was like the villain in the latest one. I was like, oh yeah, that was. Thanks, Roman Reigns. All right. So, anything else you want to touch on before we sign off for the night?
No, that pretty much covers unless anything else comes through the wire last minute.
Not that I saw. So we're gonna 22 skidoo. You can find us at realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. We're on Instagram at realnerdcorp, RealNerdcorp. Who is our woman crush for this week?
That was
She's up on the website.
Adrian Ray.
Adrian Ray, and she's in a new sci-fi series called like Queen.
Yeah, Vagrant Queen. Yeah.
Vagrant Queen. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
Any
I've
good?
been keeping up with it. It's good. Yeah, I dig it. It's some good sci-fi stuff. It reminds me of Killjoys in some ways. So
Maybe I'll check it out. We're also on Twitter at NERDCORP. Marcus is on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
yes, sir.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show on Twitter, TruePennyShow. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, as well as on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut, ChadsphotoHutu. If you like this podcast, where we're going to be back on tomorrow talking Season 2 of Reaper on the Ohio Guys production side of things. It is our second episode and our last episode of our Do Fear the Reaper podcast. So we got that tomorrow. Or no, The Devil's in the Details podcast is this one. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, wrap that series up, and then move on to something else next week. If you miss any of the podcasts, if you want to catch up on anything we've done, we talked about the releases from the WWE last week, or yesterday, I should say. We talked about like the Ronda Rousey comments. So we have 2 episodes of the Wrestling Underground up on our Podbean or on iTunes, and you can find the Podbean by going to realnerdcorp.podbean.com. You can download it straight to your desktop right away. Or if you want to take it on the go, there is a mobile device option. You can download the Podbean app to that device, search Real Nerd Corp on the Podbean app, and then download the show straight to your mobile device or cell phone. Or app, or tablet. I mean, not app. Your cell phone, your tablet, whatever. So you can go that route as well if you want to take us on the go and do that. We also transport all of our shows to our YouTube accounts, youtube.com/WrestlingUnderground, and Comic and GameCorp on YouTube. So that's all we got for this week. We're done. We'll talk to you guys later. Me and Marcus are off as a wrestling podcast until Tuesday at the very latest. But we might be on Sunday at the very earliest, depending on whatever ends up happening between tonight and Sunday. But more than likely, just anticipate we'll be back on Tuesday, 10 p.m. on Tuesday, at twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. So for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porto. Marcus, do you have any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Then with that being said, we're done. We'll see you guys soon. And remember to tune in tomorrow night as me and Alex Swisher talk about the second season of Reaper, the great comedy action series from the CW and ABC studios from like 2007, 2008. So with all that being said, we're done. Have a good night. Stay safe. Listen to those guidelines, and we'll get through this together. Marcus, take it on.
Stay inside me.